Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Apocaflix Movies and the Marvel Rewind here on Apocaflix. As you can see, it's the entire crew. It is the entire crew here for an episode of Rewind. Quite exciting. It's been a while since we've been able to get together on a Friday. All five of us as a bug flies by my face. And it's a good one today. We obviously have episode 8 of WandaVision to discuss today. And my goodness, do we have some good things to talk about today. So let's just go around the table real quick, find out how everybody's doing. Let's just start us off real quick with Mr. Chaos Magic, Gio Ramos. What's up, man? How you doing? I'm
pretty good, man. I'm still processing this episode and everything that's happened, and I can't wait to talk about it, dude. Let's get this started. Skip everyone else. Let's just go. Come on.
And Mr. Bartley, I'm guessing you're rocking the purple because of one Agatha?
Yes, partially. And I'm doing well, and I'm scared, actually, that Sideshow will release a Catherine Hahn hot toy figure in her witch costume.
They will 100%.
Because I'm going to lose even more money if they do that.
Yes. Yes, that's fair enough. And Mr. Avlicino, what's up, man? How you doing?
Next person.
What?
We're ready to talk.
Today is the day.
That's fair.
But I'm happy to talk about WandaVision.
And then Mr. Keith Barnes is with us. What's up, man? Welcome.
Great show. Glad I'm off. To talk about these crazy last two episodes, especially this crazy one.
Yeah. So Keith, he actually took a two week hiatus from work at the perfect time for the last 2 episodes of WandaVision. So he'll be with us next week as well. And I do want to say right up the top, being that next week is the finale, we're actually going to be recording our reactions next week to the episode. We're going to watch it together, excuse me. And we'll probably piece together either a full thing or clip it out to certain moments of WandaVision, and that'll drop on the channel. And then we'll obviously have Rewind next week as well. But let's just get into it and discuss this. And we're not going to really go in like a chronological order in the episode. We're kind of going to shoot around a little bit because there's a lot of things to talk about. And I want to make sure we get to the big things first because there are some very important things that are happening in this episode. I guess we can start off chronologically and just kind of start off with the opening. A big part of this episode opened with a giant flashback of the 1600s. Late 1600s with Agatha Harkness and kind of her origin story in a way. And we see Catherine Hahn back in the day during the witch trials in Salem. And she's a little bit of a different origin too from the comic books from what we know, but very similar in the same way. She pretty much gets called out by her fellow witches and she turns on them and she gets this real juicy power of hers. And you see where she gets her little emblem from her mother and she drains the power of these fellow witches. Let's just kind of talk about this a little bit and think what we have to say about it. Brian, I'll start with you, man. What did you think about this opening and finding out the real story behind Agatha Harkness?
I'm not surprised they kept the Salem witch aspect. I mean, it makes sense. It was a pretty dark opening for a Marvel property. She killed off her coven, killed her mom. Kind of intrigued why her magic is purple and that her coven's is light blue. I mean, I can assume why, but a little bit more like why do certain people have certain colors, stuff like that. So, it was funny though because I originally thought that, and I'm sure that's what they were trying to do, was at first I thought that they were like the village was going to burn her at the stake for being a thing, but then it turns out to be her coven.
Happened in that's what happened in the comic book.
Yeah. And so when it was her own coven, I was like, oh, that's a nice little play on it. So, yeah.
To kind of answer your question about the magic part, so it has to do with the type of magic that it is.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
And so, and Gio, and we'll get into it, but she says at the end of the episode that Wanda has what's called chaos magic.
Yeah.
And then she has magic that's from the dark realm.
Yeah, they said you've been practicing the dark arts.
Yeah, so and
wait, I think I figured out their plan moving forward. So,
and we saw the first time we ever saw that was in Doctor Strange and what Dormammu had been doing in the dark realm, and that's kind of the beginnings of it. But I don't know what they called her coven's magic, but it all comes from a specific place, and it's an interesting thread in the MCU just because there's different types of magic, which is very interesting, and that can play a big part in a lot of things going forward.
I'm loving the magic.
Yeah,
like at first I was like, go ahead.
Oh, just really quick, I was going to say, Loki actually mentioned it in the first Avengers movie. He asked Thor how much, with the Bifrost gone, how much dark energy did the Allfather have to use to conjure you here?
Yeah,
so it's definitely something that's across the universe here.
I'm so excited. I was a little wary, like, okay, magic might get a little weird, but I'm so excited for it now. Magic just seems perfect for it.
Gio, what about you, man? What do you think about this opening?
Well, just talking about it right now, I'm even more impressed because I agree with Brian. I was really surprised just how dark that opening was. I mean, as somebody who kind of, prefers those kind of comic book movies, I was surprised to see Marvel once again showing that they can go to a dark place. And this, for me, this opening was my introduction. I think maybe everyone else's to witches in the MCU. And magic and all that kind of stuff, all the way back to the 1600s. So there's, to that point, Marvel. Who's to say how far back they could go? I was surprised they'd go to 1600s. They can go back to the dinosaurs. I don't know if there's a storyline in the comics for that, but yeah, really dark. I love the effects of all the magic. Yep, that right there. It definitely adds weight to Agatha's character. The fact that her own mother tried to take her out. I mean, that's about as bad as it gets. And obviously, spoiler, they all fail. And, we get to see just how truly powerful Agatha is, but not powerful enough, as we'll talk about later on. So, yeah, really impressive.
I love the color of the magic.
Mm-hmm.
Like the effects of everything look incredible, and I'll even pull this image up too, which is incredible too. But of her mother in this shot as well, it's just such a beautiful aesthetic in like the world that they're playing with.
Yeah, colors is like brightness and tone and everything.
Well, it's cool because it's not just a pure color either. It's like mixed in with black.
Mm-hmm.
All of them are pretty.
I
much.
want to know more about the colors.
Me too.
Yeah,
I think it'll happen. I have a feeling it might play into something like Doctor Strange a little bit because what they do as well, the orange is a factor as well as where.
Gio, what if they steal from Green Lantern and like each color spectrum is a different one and has a different representation?
Hey, we were supposed to get Green Lantern in 2020. Okay, so yeah, you do whatever you want, Marvel. Go ahead.
Jacob, what about you? As the one who's rocking the purple here, what do you think of the beginning of this?
I loved the beginning, man. I just love the way Catherine Hahn plays it. From my opinion, she's fooling with them the whole time. She wanted them to do this so she could absorb their powers. It's probably something that only the dark magic can do. And I love the smirk on her face. It's so good. And it gives us a lot of context too. It confirms that she's been alive for that long. It confirms that, I saw a lot of people speculating that she's not even real, that Wanda made a witch character for her show. And obviously this makes that theory, just takes it away. So I thought this opening was great.
Keith?
It was great. What are they? We still don't know. Like, what are these? Who is this group of women? These magic women? Because they asked her if she was a witch.
That's
true.
true.
Not. It doesn't seem like they're witches necessarily.
I think they are. I think it was more like Wanda, are you a witch? Like, yes, of course I'm a witch. I'm with you guys. That's how I think it was.
Maybe. Yeah, that's possible. That might be true.
Yeah.
That might be true. I just wondered. Yeah, you're probably right. I just wondered if they were something else, like the sorcerers, like
Maybe.
Doctor Strange, as Jake mentioned, or and is she doing something like I said, there she's using the bad stuff. Like again, mentioning Doctor Strange, like we saw. I have a Doctor Strange connection that I think makes sense. Sure, I'm not the first one to say it, but yeah, if she is using dark energy, dark magic, that may attract the attention of not just him, but also maybe Mordo. Maybe that's some possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll see him, and maybe that's the big reveal. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, no, it was a great opening. It didn't seem like. I'm wondering about Agnes. I don't know that she, and we'll talk more about it as we go along the episode. But it didn't necessarily seem like she killed them necessarily. It's just maybe they just died trying to kill her and they couldn't. Like she clearly drained all their energy, yes, but I don't know. Did it seem like she did that intentionally, or did they just die because they couldn't? I don't know.
I think she absorbed their life force, and that's how she's living.
Yeah, I think she did it on purpose.
Their magic and their life force. I think.
She Shang Tsung them, your soul is mine, and took everything.
Yeah, okay, yeah, right.
Which is crazy. That means she's so powerful. There was like 10 witches there at least.
Well, and that's a big part into why she's able to live so long. I mean, there were 9 of them there, or 8 of them, excuse me, because there were 7 in the comic books and there were 8 on screen. And that's, you can kind of think of it as like maybe that's like 7 centuries worth of life that she just absorbed in a way, or 8, which is obviously a long time, and which is why she doesn't look like she's aged that much. They obviously did some CG work on her face for the 1600s, which makes sense, but it's not like it's massive amounts. But it was a very, very cool opening scene. Obviously, it took them 8 episodes, which was great, and it played right into what kind of came next. We jump back into present day, and we see them back in the basement from where we left off in the past episode, and she kind of is explaining to Wanda at this point, like, who she is, the fact that Wanda can't control her, like, oh, my thoughts aren't open to you, toots, is what she said, like, played so great by Catherine Hahn. And then she throws her around a little bit inside of the dungeon. And we get this cool little moment between the two of them talking, and kind of Catherine Hahn is explaining stuff. But then we get to the good stuff. And we realize that Agatha is essentially wanting to know where this all came from. What is she doing? How did she do this? Because ultimately she probably wants the power. And she wants to know how she can get it and where it kind of came from. And then we get these, for the whole episode, we get these major flashback points. Very, very like Ghost of Girlfriend's Past type of vibe with Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
It goes back into the past and plays through these scenes without being seen. And the first one is obviously a big one, but we see them as kids. We see the moment where their parents are killed in the apartment, and we get the big thing about how the sitcoms come into this. And I'll just go ahead and bring up these images too. All these sitcoms that their father brought home, he tries to sell them on the street. He brings them home. We obviously see the Dick Van Dyke Show is the big one that she had talked about the most and played into the first 2 episodes the most. And some very interesting stuff happened in here. Obviously, when the bomb went off, Stark Industries bomb was there, and Pietro saves her. And then we get this interesting moment where the bomb doesn't detonate. Did Wanda do it? Did she not do it? Let's talk about this a little bit before we move on to the big stuff. I'll shoot it to you first, Jacob. What did you think of this whole flashback scene as them as kids?
It was bittersweet because we got to see like her happy moments of watching those sitcoms with her family. But damn, when that missile, I didn't think they were going to do the missile blast right there. I was like, what? That's harsh. And I rewatched it too, and it still like stunned me when it happened. Which is crazy. But obviously the biggest part is, and I don't think they confirmed this, but they implied it heavily, that she was like destined to be the Scarlet Witch and that she always had something there with her. But, you know, Agatha asks her, did you stop the bomb? And Wanda's like, no. I mean, but I think Wanda could have done it without knowing, possibly. But that's just so crazy. That changes the whole character from the beginning. If she was always meant to be a witch, which is kind of cool. I'm down for that. I mean, because there's more evidence to that later on. But I thought this was cool. It was so on the nose. Like they just straight up told us she literally watched all these sitcoms when she was a kid. And, we confirmed that for a long time, but they never confirmed it. So it was nice for them to do that.
Brian, I'll go to you next.
Yeah, the explosion part was wild. Like
It
I
was
was
violent. It was so violent.
I mean, you literally like see them like blown forward. Yeah, I mean, I took it as she always was a witch. I mean, she just hadn't accessed it inside of her. I wouldn't say go as far as saying that she was the Scarlet Witch or destined to be the Scarlet Witch. At this point, she just had it in her to.
Could you say she had the gene?
The mutant.
Yeah.
Gene.
I mean, it makes sense.
Maybe they just made her an X-Men. What if they just made her a mutant?
I'm just hoping that they don't make witches.
No, I agree. Stacy, no, they were different people.
Yeah,
that was the first thing I did.
That was the big reveal.
I mean, and then obviously, the blinking red light was in the commercial that we saw, so we know that comparison. But yeah, that was rough seeing her. I mean, we heard the story without the visual, and then now it's like, here's your visual. This is what happened, and that part was. I love when things get dropped years ago and then explained or shown later. But yeah, it was sad. It was rough.
Very somber.
This whole episode, like it got me a little teary eyed. I was like, dang, this, because especially just seeing how much she's gone through, how much she's lost. It's just like, and this was just the first one too. So yeah.
Mr. Ramos, why don't you go next?
So first off, I gotta say, seeing Catherine Hahn do all the hand gestures and use her powers, that's, man.
Also, I gotta say, when she says Fietro, that's amazing.
Oh yeah, that's hilarious.
The funny thing is, when she was like, "Why is he so loud?" I was like thinking, right when the kid talked the first time, I was like, "Why is it loud?" And then she said, and I was like, "Oh, okay." So it's
also to point out from like the kid's point of view, those are also different kids from the flashback Pietro had. Which is a good nod as well, kind of just making clear that that's a completely different character who has nothing to do with anything Wanda. She even said it while they were talking that she believed it because she's so much in doubt of herself and what her life is like now. She just believed the fact that was her brother. But Gio, continue.
But no, to that point, maybe she's rewriting the memories in her head, creating a different, reality of those memories, which was so interesting to revisit the whole Stark missile thing that has been talked about in previous movies. But yeah, I mean, just you could look at this episode as just one big case study on Wanda Maximoff and everything that she's been through, and you see Agatha be kind of like the psychiatrist in a way.
People are calling her the worst psychiatrist man has ever met.
Oh yeah. No, she's up there with Harley Quinn, but just her like trying to tap into Wanda, and maybe Wanda doing a little bit of self-reflection and rediscovering just her past and accepting it. But yeah, just to see Catherine Hahn be in that role of like, we're kind of witnessing Wanda's past through her eyes, and everything that she's that she has gone through. So I thought it was cool that we got the the DVDs of the sitcoms and everything and how that tied in. It made sense. Again, like Marvel doesn't just do these things just to be creative and fun. They have purpose behind that, and that was clearly fleshed out in this episode, which I applaud them for. Yeah, it did kind of leave me with more questions. Did she stop the bomb? Did she not stop the bomb? Are they going to say she has a mutant gene in her? It was interesting to see the Scarlet Witch.
Well, we'll get to that next. Whoop.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about that. That's all. That's all I'm going to say. So.
Keith?
Yeah, I love how, like, and Jacob, you kind of alluded to it, but like the stuff that we saw all the different shows, all the episodes, and what the shows were based on, and then they actually like here they actually are like, yeah, this one was actually Malcolm in the Middle, it was actually Bewitched, it was actually I Love Lucy, and then and they had other ones in there that we didn't see because we did. I think Darcy alluded to, there were other episodes of others that we weren't seeing. So I wonder I think I saw what's another one I saw in there? Do you have that
There
image?
was Bewitched, the Addams Family.
Addams Family, yeah.
What's that one?
Who's the boss?
Who's the boss?
Yeah. Yeah, I went, oh my god, we didn't even see that. I wonder if there was maybe she
And
made
she
up
watched it when she was an adult too, so that's probably when she watched The Office and all.
Well,
that
yeah,
stuff.
she was watching Malcolm in the Middle, and we'll get to that sequence later.
Right. So that was great because like they just everything that we've been speculating on, and they were like, no, you're right, and these are the actual shows, and she was actually watching them. So I thought that was interesting. And as soon as I saw the skirmish in the street, I knew they were going to do the bomb. Like as soon as you hear the gunshots going off, and then you can hear shots, and I think Pietro, was the one that looked out the window. I think.
No, it was Wanda.
Mom.
Was it her?
Oh,
okay.
It was the mom. It was the mom.
Yeah.
Right.
It was the mom. Okay. But yeah, as soon as I heard that, I went, oh. So I was expecting that to happen, but that was rough. That was rough to see, but it made me think of just the fact that she clearly has this thing in her. She's had it all along, and that's one of those things that just kind of brought it out. It made me think. I got some Rey vibes going on, where it clearly seems like she's doing this stuff. She has this power within her, a very powerful force within her, and she doesn't realize when she's doing it. She just does it on instinct. It kind of made me think of Rey when all the stuff we saw in Force Awakens. Like we're just like, how did she know? How did she do this? How is she using the Jedi mind tricks, and how is she, what she's doing the thing with Kylo Ren with he's trying to read her mind, and she's doing it back to him and that kind of thing. So, but it also made me think, and the whole idea of her being the Scarlet Witch, and is that a specific thing that I don't know. Like she called her that at the end. We'll get to that, but I got some vibes of maybe it's a thing like the Phoenix Force, where it goes around, it chooses someone, and maybe this is a power that chose her, and she's it, and is it related to the Infinity Stones? I know that this is some kind
of let's just get into it. Let's just get into it because
I know you guys are horrible at waiting.
Well,
one of you tried to jump to the
So look. Okay,
one of you tried to jump to the meat.
We're having this conversation about whether or not she had this her entire life. If it was picked for her. For me, it was almost solidified by the next door, if you will, the next door that had happened, which were the days before the Age of Ultron post-credit scene that we saw at the end of Captain America 2. Where we saw Pietro and Wanda for the first time with their powers. And I'm going to throw some images up because this was by far my favorite part of the entire episode. And I'll just throw up a sequence. So we see her playing with the Infinity Stone here. And then we get this incredible shot. Shot
Absolutely.
Of a Scarlet Witch silhouette. But here's the cool thing. I actually found on the internet, I didn't bring it up on the stream, but I found someone had actually toyed with the image. That is actually Elizabeth Olsen in the real suit. It's not just a created silhouette for the shot. It's an actual filmed shot that they put there with the effects.
And it's her.
And so I have
if you look at it, there's a little kid in it too.
Yes. At the bottom. Oh no, those are her legs. Those are her legs.
Are you sure? That's
Yeah,
It
no,
looks like
leg.
her legs like coming out of the
guess.
bottom of the coat.
Yeah, okay. All
I
right.
see what you mean, Brian. It does kind of look like a child, but I think it's just her legs. Yeah, I see what you mean though.
So yeah, for me, it kind of this almost kind of like said like yes, it had been calling to her. It's always been her. There just needed something to be unlocked, and they had said that while she was doing the test that nobody had survived. Not a single person had survived, right?
That's
But
a key point.
And the interesting is they told her, they said, oh, just touch it. The stone came to her, right? It came to her, which is even a bigger part of this. It's a beautiful sequence. It's incredible. I love just seeing this, like seeing the Scarlet Witch in the eyes and then seeing the silhouette. Everything about it is so beautiful. How do you guys feel?
I
hope
agree.
they make a pop figure.
Same. I can't wait to see her in that.
Brian's like,
and
I can't wait for them to make a pop figure. I'm like, they make a hot toy.
I cannot wait to see her in that suit.
I have purpose. She's my second favorite character, and I have been waiting to get one because for that outfit. That is what I need.
The real outfit.
Here, I uploaded the image. I'll go ahead and bring it up. Here we go. This is the edited version.
That's what I want. That's what I need.
Look at the suit.
It's
Look at the suit.
That's what I need. Yeah. That's what I need. And that's why I haven't bought one yet.
So you can tell like she's got the arms open like she does in the comic book. She's got her own little logo.
Is she going to turn bad by the end?
It's coming. The Scarlet Witch is coming.
I don't know.
I think so. But yeah, like you said, Jake, obviously there's something special about her prior to this because they say everyone else has died. And somebody in the comments wrote, how did Pietro get his powers? They said he was experimented on too. And we don't know that for sure.
So real quick, while you brought up the Pietro thing, so I actually saw an image of this, but it was edited without Scarlet Witch and it was a shoe. Because he has speed. Someone put his shoe there instead.
Look, it must be something where like it knows that's her sibling and like, all right, we're not going to kill you. We'll give you some powers too. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean,
or maybe
they're twins. They got the same genetics.
Maybe that's true too. Maybe he has it in him too all along. Who knows? I mean, he disappears pretty fast when the bomb goes off, and he's like out on the corner, and then he's like, "Come on, Wanda." So that could be interesting. But anyways, that was the most, probably the most important scene in the movie because when you think of, they experimented on them, you don't think of it like that, how that happened, right? You think of it differently, like they're just strapped to a table and they're like doing something to them, but they just put her in a room with the Infinity Stone and that happened. So it's pretty crazy.
And then she also, to add, she passed out. She was in a cell and she was watching another sitcom.
So yes, the Brady Bunch. What did they keep rewinding?
Because she looped.
Yeah, there was the stone was in front of her.
I see.
Then it cut to her on the ground. So they never actually saw her like touch the stone or anything like that, which is another mystery.
Yeah.
I think she kind of like disappeared when she saw that and then on the ground.
Yeah, she like went into this like almost like the stone force or something.
Realm.
The soul world.
Realm.
Of course, I know. It's coming. It's all coming. It's all coming.
The mind realm. Well, what's interesting to me is, does the Mind Stone ever emit any red energy or anything like that? I don't think it does.
Okay, that's a good point.
So
I was thinking about that.
I think the Scarlet Witch Chaos Magic red, the witch part is the red part, and the yellow part is from the stone. And so when Yeah.
Jacob,
so
is that what like, Scarlet is? Red?
Well, no. I'm just saying, like, we haven't really talked about that. Like, it's literally like the Scarlet Witch powers and powers from the Infinity Stone combined.
Well, yeah, that's
no. So what I think is implied, I think, and we'll talk about it later on, but I think that she is literally named the Scarlet Witch, and we'll probably find out. But maybe there's like this legend about red magic.
Yeah,
and they call them the Scarlet Witch, or maybe there's only ever one of them, and there's only one person who ever has chaos magic.
Or Brian can tell you what's going to happen probably in the future.
You know what? You've spent 7 weeks telling us what to happen, and only about 5% of it has come true.
No, I think I nailed it. Now I'm pretty sure I
feel like you
figured
said
out
that every week.
No, it's happening, and I'm just gonna when it happens, I'm just gonna give a middle finger to all 4 of you.
Well, it's not like we're disagreeing with you. Why would you give us the finger?
Just because I figured it out.
But it's not like we're disagreeing with you.
Tell me.
You want me to tell you?
You have to reveal
wait,
it.
wait, hold on. When is it? Does it fit best to tell us towards the end after we're done talking about the episode? Because we do have some big things to talk about that are coming.
I mean, we can. It doesn't matter. If someone starts to talk about it, I'm going to be pissed off.
Let's save it for what we can talk about for next week's episode. So she gets her powers. She comes into contact with the Mind Stone, and after we see this moment of her in the cell, we jump to the next scene of her now having her powers full. Go ahead, Keith. Go ahead.
Really quick, if I may, just a quick note. I noted it wasn't Strucker. I was expecting to see.
I think it was a young Strucker.
Well, do you think so?
Maybe the actor didn't want to come back for the part, so they got someone who looked like him and just didn't name him.
Well, but he was talking to the other doctor as if that guy was in charge. You know what I mean?
Maybe, but the guy that looked like Strucker was telling the guy to rewind. So I figured that he was in charge.
Yeah, maybe.
He probably just didn't want to come back for the 5 seconds.
Yeah, just for that one part. Yeah.
All right. So the next sequence that happens is the next door that comes through is a scene in Civil War, a different scene but very similar of Scarlet Witch or Wanda, excuse me, in her room at the Avengers campus.
Well, I actually think this is after Age of Ultron because she just lost Pietro.
Oh yeah, well probably, but I implied to Civil War because we see this,
which
scene
is like basically right before Civil War.
we see this scene in Civil War.
So same thing,
a different conversation happening, and we see Wanda on her bed watching another sitcom. She's watching Malcolm in the Middle. We see Vision come in, classic Vision Wade, not liking doors. But it's old school Vision, right? He doesn't really understand the comedy and stuff like this, and there's good conversation between the two of them. She talks about how she misses Pietro, everything like that. Gio, I'll start with you on this one. What do you think of this scene?
I like it. I think this is exactly what we needed more of for this series. You know, I felt like their relationship could have used more on-screen time, and that's what they did with this. Yeah, I mean, it's good to see them, you know, begin to bond. You know, she talks about, you know, her losses, and he can't really sympathize because he's never really lost anything, right? He hasn't really experienced any human emotions. So that was my biggest takeaway. Otherwise, I mean, once again, she should have stayed in the whatever compound. Okay, Tony Stark was taking care of her.
Oh God!
Yes,
none of this would have ever happened.
Yeah, until she smacked down Vision into the ground 30 floors down.
Yeah.
You can't hold her hostage. Come on.
Yeah.
Trying to protect her. He knew it.
Keith, what about you?
Listen, he said she's a weapon of mass destruction, and they don't grant whatever he said, clemency or whatever was to weapons of mass destruction. Now, yeah, that's a great scene. I loved. Yeah, it seemed like it was. I do like how they keep pointing out. The show keeps pointing out like her accent is going in and out, right?
Oh, that was at the beginning. Agatha goes, "Man, that really comes out when you're angry."
yeah, or it comes and goes or whatever. And then you know, with Pietro asking her, "What happened to your accent?" You know, a few episodes ago, which kind of makes Jacob. It seems like it. Yeah, it is. It's obviously well after Age of Ultron, where she still had it, but she had the accent in Civil War. So yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's hard to pinpoint when that scene took place, but. Yeah, it was actually very nice, very touching. I love just the way seeing these two. I love their chemistry, and yeah, exactly, Stacy. I was literally just about to say that. I love to see the way they look at each other. Like their chemistry is excellent. You know, I love seeing scenes of them together. I wish this show was more just about the two of them.
We haven't seen them together in a long time either. It feels like forever.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. And who knows if we ever will again. It will, at least in a happy way. But you think back to their scenes in Infinity War where they were over in Scotland hanging out. Those scenes were really nice, and yeah, I like seeing that stuff between the two of them. I think Elizabeth Olsen, Paul Bettany, they really have great chemistry, which is obviously what you need with these two characters. So I love seeing that, and it was a nice scene. It's just Brian, you hit on it earlier, man. You just God, you just really feel for her, man. They're really doing a good job of putting us in position to really, really feel for her. In spite of whatever possible villainous turn she may or may not take, you definitely empathize with her if you have a heart, unless you're just someone made of stone. But yeah, so I enjoyed that scene a lot.
Brian, what about you?
I mean, the first thing that I thought of is basically what John Pierce just put was, all right, Bryan Cranston's in this clip. Does that mean he's canon as Bryan Cranston acting? Because I'm gonna need Bryan Cranston to have some type of role in the Marvel universe at some point. So,
hi, Brandy.
Hi, Brandy.
What if she was watching Breaking Bad? Too bad she didn't watch Breaking Bad.
That I know. Oh, I was on Twitter. Someone did a whole entire thing that Breaking Bad was connected to Malcolm in the Middle, and she's connected to it. It was this whole nonsense. But yeah, this whole thing, it's heartbreaking in a way.
Yeah.
Should we get to the next one? Because the next one's kind of a pivotal big moment here. In the entire series, and it's a moment that we saw back in episode 4 of security camera footage at the at SWORD headquarters.
Hayward.
And I'm just going to pull up a screenshot of this moment of her finding out Vision's body is dismantled, that she can quote unquote no longer feel him, as she heartbreakingly says in the episode. And we learned that the footage that we saw was pretty much lied to about everyone else at the headquarters outside the Hex, and they pretty much fabricated it in a way to make it look like she's the bad guy when she didn't take the body, which is something we had talked about in previous episodes. She left in a nice little red sedan in the parking lot.
It's a red Buick.
Yeah, a red Buick.
The next 5 minutes is basically a Buick commercial.
But anyway, look, this is obviously big because we learned that, and it comes back, and we'll talk about that post-credit scene. But we learned that the Vision we know is dead. He's no longer a part of what we know, for now anyway. And we know that at this point, and we learn this in the next scene as well. But the Vision inside the Hex is a creation. That it's not the body, that the body never left SWORD. And so this is pretty big because it has massive implications for what's coming in the next episode. But what did everyone think about the scene? Because this scene was probably one of the most heartbreaking things that we've seen in MCU, period. I mean, the fact that a loved one saw their loved one on a table dismantled is a big deal. The fact that all she wanted to do was give him a funeral to bury him, and that they were just, she was watching them pull his limbs apart and everything that she had known. Jacob, I'll start with you on this one. What did you think of this whole sequence?
Yeah, this was interesting because, he never says that he met her face to face. And I think this kind of, we don't know yet, but this kind of confirms he's just the director or the temporary director of SWORD. And he does have his own agenda.
So actually, so interesting. He tells Monica that he's the acting director, right? He told Wanda he's the director.
I'm gonna argue with you on this one, Jacob. But continue.
I still think he's just he could be a Skrull, playing that character, pretending to be this guy or whatever. But to me, he's just, he's obsessed. He clearly has something against superpowered beings, and he clearly is obsessed with bringing this, weapon back. This tech weapon back in Vision. So, and he also says earlier in the series, he says something like, you don't know what it was like during these 5 years. The whole world was a mess. And I think he's just pissed off. And so this, anyways, the biggest thing from here is that he showed them the footage of her breaking the glass and then going down. And then he stopped the footage after that. He
Yep.
never showed them her taking the body.
Yeah.
And to me, that is one of the biggest moments because she controls herself, leaves
Well-
Sword without causing any trouble, and just goes on her own.
I mean, there's a massive glass bill, but that's
Yeah, I mean, but what are they gonna do? There's nothing they can do, you know. So I think the fact that she could have still, like, a villain would have said, "You're tearing apart my loved one and treating his body like it's scrap and metal." A villain would have just killed them all and taken the body. So I think it's showing that she has some restraint, that she's not just she could become, by the end of this next episode, she could be a villain. But to me, it showed her softer side. They kind of revealing to us that, yeah, it's terrible what she did, like taking over everybody's mind. Awful. But she's not a villain, though, I think, yet.
Brian, I can see your gears turning. What do you got?
Oh no, it's funny because I'm almost kind of the opposite of Jacob. Like the whole time I'm thinking, like, why does he seem so different?
He was pushing her.
Yes, but he literally seems different. Like a whole he acted almost like a whole different person the whole time she was there than we've seen him anywhere else. And yeah, I mean, people have different agendas, but
Do you feel like there's enough time to introduce the scrolls, though?
I mean, they could easily go back.
Like that. Like for the last episode, do you think there's enough time to explain how he became a scroll?
Who says they have to explain it right now?
It could be the end credit scene of episode
I'm
9.
not saying, I don't think they're gonna.
And then they don't touch on it yet.
I don't think it's gonna even come up. I think that he'll be around for a while, and at some point they're gonna.
I mean, I hope he's around for a while. I mean, if he's the director of Sword, he better be around for a while.
I like one of the parts that got me was when she said, "I can't feel you," because of
dude,
the call back to Infinity War where she says, "I can feel you" while she's killing him.
Doesn't he say that?
He says it.
Yeah.
He says it, right?
Sorry, yeah.
And then I think at the beginning of Infinity War 2, when they're in the hotel room in Scotland, she says it, is what you're probably
so that is just
that's gonna be the next major t-shirt. Like, I love you 3000. I can feel you.
All
or
right,
I can't feel you.
That might be a little much. I just my cynicalness was laughing at all the people trying to take him apart, and then Hayward being like, he's $3 billion worth of vibranium. I'm like, and they're using little hand saws to try to take apart Vision. So I was just like, okay. But yeah, that was rough, seeing him just like filleted out and just
I'll bring up the filleted picture again.
Yeah, just pulling him apart.
And they like zoomed in on them, like ripping one of his legs or arms apart, and like her looking at that. And to her, he's basically a human being to her, you know?
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's funny because I originally thought when she broke the glass, I was like, here we go. And then nothing. Like Jacob said, she's showing that she's good, that she's hurting. She's not angry. She's hurting. And she didn't attack. She walked out in her Buick and went driving around for a little bit. So.
Gio.
Yeah, to pick up where Brian left off, you know, I think we all knew that this show would eventually go back to that moment in time where she, you know, breaks the glass, and it looks like she's breaking into Sword and stealing Vision's body. Well, no, they fooled us this time around. And I just gotta say, cool on Marvel to do commentary on clip culture and mainstream media. I appreciate that. Thank you. But yeah, it's sad, you know, for the most part, these romances that we see happen on screen in Marvel are mostly fun, you know, but every now and then they can pull on our heartstrings. You know, I think of when Steve Rogers visited Peggy Carter, and you know, Peggy realizes it's Steve, like that pulled on your heartstrings, and here we go here. You know, she's Wanda's saying, I can't feel you, and you're literally watching once again humans, mess around with things that they shouldn't be messing around with, and we see what happens with Vision's body later on, and we'll talk about that. But yeah, this Hayward guy again, like the show keeps giving me reasons, to root for his, for his character to get killed off, and painting a picture, making Wanda look like the bad guy, the villain, and as we now know, that's not the case. So yeah.
Real quick, we did get a Streamlabs that came in. This one came from Park Fails, and he or she had said, "I have leftover money, so I give it." Thank you so much for the
Thank you.
Thank you.
Much
It's a
appreciated.
heat. It's my little buddy Parker. Parker, thank you, sir.
Thanks, man. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you,
Before we move on, Keith, I don't think you've talked much about this one. What do you got about this whole scientific experiment thing going on Vision?
Okay. I always thought Vision had maybe possibly little kind of fleshy material, right?
See, that's what I thought too.
He was, if you go back
from
to Age
Age
of
of
Ultron, he
Ultron,
wasn't.
that was her special.
I think his core was made from vibranium, but he actually has like a synthetic covering, essentially, is
Yes.
what is he's used. Because remember, he's
synthetic flesh,
vibranium.
though. Remember that.
Vibranium wouldn't be stabbed by what's his name spear in Infinity War.
Yes.
Like he was literally ripped through in Infinity War.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Doctor.
I know. But remember that Dr. Cho, I think her name was Cho, Helen Cho, I think was her name. That was her specialty. That was her field. That's how she fixed Hawkeye from when he got shot in the beginning. I thought she made some fake skin from us. That's what I was assuming. But I don't know. And I just thought it was like woven with bits of vibranium. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, so it was a little unsettling to see him literally taken apart like a puzzle. But I've been wondering this whole time, why do they have him? Why is he not? And I don't know what the formation of Sword and how I guess we'll learn all that later at some point in another movie or whatever. But just it seemed like whatever's left of the Avengers, whoever was running them, they would have had him. First of all,
And it was in Wakanda.
Wakanda, let them take it. Him.
So,
Well, Tony Stark wasn't
let
there
someone
at the
take it.
moment. You know?
obviously, no Stark, no Natasha, no. Well, actually, no, that's not true. Because at that point, Natasha was still alive. So
Well, Captain America let them take him, which is crazy.
Captain
to me.
America.
Like,
as well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We don't know exactly as far as, because remember, half the world disappeared, and we don't know what happened with those characters as soon as that happened. They could have left Vision in Wakanda, and they could have gone off, and then Sword could have came in and fucked them up. Like,
I don't know.
They're just going to leave the homie in the
and
field.
Wakanda
They're on the
let-
Quinn.
no. I'm not saying leave him in the field. I'm not saying leave him in
Oh
the
man, we forgot Vision.
Come
Yeah,
on.
well, and I'm wondering, I think the Avengers took Vision's body, and then maybe they thought they could trust Sword,
Maybe.
Just
Yeah.
Drop
because-
it off.
Sword couldn't get into Wakanda.
Do you think
No.
they use FedEx or UPS?
We always
for
they're always
sake.
listen. Stan Lee was a FedEx guy.
Works for FedEx.
Stan Lee was a FedEx guy. Shout out to FedEx for the official carrier of the MCU. Yes.
All right,
You can
let's shift gears to the next scene that happened.
Wait, I'm sorry. Really quick. One thing real quick. I was just gonna say, is that scene okay? Jacob, you said they didn't show her going in there and taking his body, but to me, I felt like clearly that didn't happen. Like he doctored that somehow to make it appear.
Yeah, I mean,
because she was we're gonna. I know you want to get to the next scene, but I'm just gonna jump ahead slightly and say, I mean, we see her creating Vision.
Yeah, he 100% doctored that. That's why
yeah,
he's
so
clearly right.
she never took the body. Yeah,
Yeah, right. So okay, that's I just meant, I don't know if I missed
basically
that.
what Jesse said. Just Jesse nailed it right on the head. Trust the government, because they're always the ones that.
well, if you see, I think the video shows her breaking the glass and then floating down, and then it stops. And if you show somebody
Well, I
that,
think
you're like, oh yeah, she broke in to steal his body, but she never actually went through with it.
I thought they showed like some kind of. Did they show her kind of? We'd have to watch it again.
No, they barely even showed her once she broke the glass and went in.
Yeah, it was like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Barely.
I thought I remembered seeing her like shoot some kind of like a blast at the people, and maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, but okay, that was one.
I thought so too, but I have to go back
Yeah.
and watch it.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. So the scene continues, and we see Wanda get in her very basic red Buick sedan and drive to Westview. It's a very rundown version of Westview. She kind of strolling through the town a little bit, paying attention to the speed limit, and we're seeing all the characters that we've met over the last number of episodes, right? In their normal selves, we see the pizza delivery guy, and we see Vision's coworker, and the next door neighbor, and all these characters, and so we see where they were beforehand, and the fact that they're all members of Westview, and then we get to an empty plot, an empty home, if you will, that has yet to be built inside Westview, and we get this heartbreaking moment here of the map of a deed. And on it says to grow old in V, obviously with meaning Vision. Then we get a moment where she's walking through essentially the corpse of the house, if you will. And we get this. She goes all berserk on Westview. She explodes in power and rage and emotion. And she creates the hex after pretty much just letting her power go full force. And we get inside the house, and everything is in black and white. The town is in black and white, and we get this moment as well that we just alluded to, and we see her creating Vision, a version of Vision inside of the hex, and then we see them in black and white towards the end of this moment as well, kind of alluding back to the very first episode. We see them finishing up on the couch with Wanda actually behind them, still in this kind of dream world that Agatha has put her in. And then we see her run outside, and she sees Billy and Tommy being strung up by Agatha, and we get this moment as well. And she looking awesome in her get-up. Catherine Hahn is, and the famous line of obviously that this is chaos magic, and that means you are the Scarlet Witch, officially giving her a name inside the MCU. A big sequence, a very, very important sequence. A lot of things happened. But let's talk about it a little bit, because this is obviously some emotional stuff. Elizabeth Olsen, again, as I've mentioned throughout the weeks, killing it on this show. This might be her best performance out of all the episodes. Just absolutely murdering the emotion that it took to kind of portray this character in this moment. So, Gio, I'll start with you on this one, man. What did you think that everything kind of finished up on this episode?
Yep, I agree with you. I think this was the most performance-driven out of all the episodes, and Elizabeth Olsen and also Catherine Hahn absolutely delivered. Both of them were great. I see people saying online that, maybe Wanda was doing the folks of Westview a favor, because a lot of them look miserable. And maybe because of, the blip that happened, and everyone gets, snapped back, whatever theories you want to play. But, yeah, dude, it's crazy that we're left with this cliffhanger that she is now Scarlet Witch. The name drop finally happened. And, it's just, again, I'm wondering, where the hell is Doctor Strange? Because in Infinity War, he says, protecting your reality to, Tony Stark. Well, all these civilians, I'm sure they'll have an explanation. Maybe he shows up in the next episode. That would be awesome. But it's crazy cliffhanger. And again, the kids, are they real? I don't know. If the hex goes, I'm pretty sure they go as well, right? So it was just a whole bunch.
We don't know. We don't know about the kids. We know about Vision. We saw Vision when he tried to leave the hex that he got destroyed, and that answers its question. The kids come next. We're gonna find out next episode, obviously, but it definitely, I kind of lead toward the side that they are real. But I have a feeling that something might happen to them. So,
yeah. Are we gonna get Vision v Vision?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Now people are saying that could be.
Let's talk about the Vision part of this once we get to the post-credit scene. Let's talk about what happened with Wanda here.
I think I agree with you, Gio. Vio.
Theo.
Brian, what about you? What did you think about the emotional sequence with Wanda here, exploding in power, creating the hex, everything that kind of went down?
I mean, that whole seems heartbreaking. Her falling in agony on the plot of land that was supposed to be for them. Her chaos magic exploding out of her because she couldn't take it anymore, and she didn't do it on purpose. I don't think so.
You're right, Brandy. You're right. You're right.
This honestly, I haven't loved a show this much since Watchmen, when Watchmen came out.
How about a 4-hour season finale, Brandy?
But yeah, it. Wait, what did you just do?
You guys, nobody caught the reference?
Yeah, I guess.
I might have just blocked it out, honestly.
Well, I think it is going to be an hour or longer, to be honest.
Yeah, honestly, people need to just chill the F out. I'm so tired of hearing it wasn't an hour. Who cares? It's good.
Today's was like 42 minutes or something, and it was perfect.
Whatever. Each one's been great.
Nothing is an hour.
No one's complaining about an episode yet, right?
I don't know, man. Hey, fans and their run times, man. So you better.
Who cares?
That's when it's a feature film. Jeez.
Would you rather have 45 minutes and 15 minutes of just extra scenes just so you can call it an hour, or would you rather have 45 solid minutes? I'll take the 45 solid minutes, even less. I don't care, because it's churning out some of the best stuff I've seen in a while. Yeah, that was heartbreaking, seeing her grief and then just all that coming from it. I love that she's now the Scarlet Witch. And I will dive. Brandy, I agree. Trust me, I could do this show every year for God knows how long, but it's perfect. I'll dive in. I'll wait till we're done with the Vision talk to go into that chaos magic.
Yeah, I want to hear your breakdown, Brian.
Jacob, what do you think of this, the final few minutes here with her exploding in power?
Yeah, it was pretty big. I mean, obviously we get Scarlet Witch, the name dawned on her, and I wonder, like, is she going to be called that from now on? You know, if it somehow people find out and she's known as the Scarlet Witch. But to me, I mean, we don't know everything about this Scarlet Witch entity. And Catherine Hahn says the ability for spontaneous creation, she says, this is chaos magic, Wanda, and that means you're the Scarlet Witch. So spontaneous creation, she created Vision. I mean, she created her kids. So it makes me think they are real, but why couldn't Vision leave the Hex? Does that mean if the Hex comes down, Vision's dead?
Yeah. 100%. The show's gonna. I've been saying it from day one. The show's gonna end with Vision dying. Yeah,
if it's spontaneous creation, that means she can't just create anything anywhere. It has to be. I mean, and I think like what Catherine Hahn says at the beginning, magic on autopilot. So basically, she just, and that's why I think what you said, Brian. She didn't create it on purpose. Her grief she couldn't take it anymore, and it just manifested. And it's so crazy. Like, I'm so curious now about all the mythology with the witches and the Scarlet Witch and things like that. So we'll find out. I mean, it's going to be, do you think it's possible she loses Vision again, but keeps her kids?
Yes.
Which
I think the next episode is the last time you'll probably see Paul Bettany as the,
because
I agree. I think it's gonna be closure for her. She never got closure. This is gonna be closure.
I don't know if it's gonna be closure, but it's
well, look, her character's been through so much grief, more than anyone in the MCU that we've seen, and she needs a little bit of happiness, right? Like, if she loses Vision and her kids, how does she come back from that?
If she loses the kids, she's 1,000% a villain for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
1,000, like for a little, like at least in Doctor Strange 2, maybe even after.
At least through that movie. Yeah.
But if the kids are real and they make it through the show, I see her being maybe like on the outs a little bit in Doctor Strange 2, but not the villain. Maybe like Strange has to bring her back somehow or whatever. But I definitely, it goes one or two ways.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing to me, because I would love for all of this, even if it's not until Doctor Strange 2, that Wanda ends up having her kids and she gets something of happiness. And because at least, you know, if she never would have met Vision, this never would have happened. She never would have created the kids. So all these events led to her creating the kids, which is very interesting. So I thought that was awesome. Like, we didn't see anything else going on until the post-credit scene other than, you know, Agatha, Harkness, and Wanda. And that's it.
Yeah,
so it was pretty cool.
It's going to be interesting because I'm still clinging to this idea that they're going to play into the comic book origin of Billy and Tommy, right? Like the idea of them disappearing, Wanda going bad, and then them coming back at some point. Are they actually going to do that? Or are they going to skip that and just age them up like they have in the show? It's very interesting because there's not a whole lot of time to make them disappear if they're going to go that route. I just don't know at this point if they are.
What if Agatha takes her kids and then it ends like that?
What if she drains their power? Oh
my God. Hey, feeding off yo magic.
And that commercial, the kid was wearing Billy's colors, just saying.
Well, and we saw what Agatha did at the beginning of the episode too. She drained their magic and their life force.
Damn.
Crazy.
This show can get dark real quick, y'all.
They won't do it. They won't do it.
Maybe she'll try. Like, they'll show her trying to, and Wanda will stop her. I just want to see them go at it. I want to see Agatha and Wanda just go at it.
They're definitely going to go at it.
Well, where's Monica?
Yeah, we didn't see anybody.
That's what I was just about to say. Like all the other people that changed, when she expanded the hex, all those people. You said Monica, Darcy's still in there. Who knows if something maybe happened to her? There's this possibility that, listen, she might expand this thing to the whole country or the whole world. You know, to where Vision. Maybe, I don't know.
Sorry.
Yeah, you did.
What's it? Oh yeah. Yes. I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't know. I have no idea.
I can see that.
Where is Doctor Strange? Right?
The last episode is going to play like a movie 100%, where there's going to be like a big giant post-credit scene. Even though there have been some, they're like episode teasers. This is going to be like an actual like post-credit scene.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
wait.
I think it's going to be either Strange or Mordo.
What if Wanda starts working with Mordo? That'd be crazy.
Well, this has to have caught their attention by now. Like,
absolutely.
Well,
he said that's the problem. The problem in the world is too many sorcerers, right? He wants to get rid of everybody that's using magic, especially.
I'm wondering, is the magic that Doctor Strange studies, is that connected to the same magic that the witches have?
All magic is magic, but there's different kinds of magic.
Yes,
because they're technically sorcerers, right?
Yeah,
it's all different kind of magic, but it's all in the magic realm. Right. There's just different kinds.
What people are saying that book that she has, is her.
Brian, I think I know where you're going, and I think you and I are on the same page.
I'm saying it.
Yeah,
that book was missing. It was a missing place in the library in Doctor Strange, and people are saying that she has that book. That's what people are saying, is that she has that book. There was is from that sanctum in wherever that sanctum was, or not sanctum, but the actual place. No, it wasn't a sanctum, but yeah, I think that I was going to make a point about Mordo. Because I mean, clearly, whatever Agatha's doing to keep herself alive is probably similar to what the Ancient One was doing to keep herself alive for hundreds of years. You know, as I said, that was dark magic as well. I mean, we talked about it at the beginning of the show, but so it's definitely going to attract Doctor Strange, at least for sure. But I would love it to be Mordo.
All
Brian,
right,
go ahead.
No. Well, let's get to the post-credit scene before we get into kind of any previews and what's going to come. So let's talk about the post-credit scene here. Just as last week, there was a big post-credit scene, but this one was a major one, and we officially saw what Hayward had been doing, and he is creating what is known as white vision. Possibly some people call him gray vision as well, because he's not actually like a pure white, but he is what's known as white vision. And there's a big aspect to this character. For those of you who may be wondering what the difference is between the two of them, in the comic books, White Vision was created by Hank Pym. He was reassembled by Hank Pym, but Hank Pym couldn't give him his emotions back. He was an emotionless Vision who didn't react to stuff. He had his memories, but there was also a time when he didn't have his memories. And so that's still up in the air on whether or not he'll actually have the memories of the past Vision. It's the Vision we know without the emotions, without the kind of connection that he had beforehand, making him more prone to someone be like, go do this, and him doing it, which is obviously a big part. Creating a sentient weapon for control, essentially. And that's leading to what's going to happen in the next episode. We obviously talked about Vision v. Vision in the next episode, but it also opens up the possibility of if he's able to get his memories back, if he's able to get his emotions back, could we see White Vision in the future here in the MCU? But let's just kind of stick to what's happening here. Brian, I'll start with you. What did you think of the post-credit scene, and what do you think is going to happen, man?
First thing I thought of was, they're using White Vision from the concept art in the original ideas for the Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
And they're spinning it, which clearly they are. I think he's just gonna be a straight up robot. No memories, no nothing. Maybe she'll trigger the memories, but he's gonna go in there just a straight up Ultron-y bad robot.
It's like Logan versus Logan from Logan.
You want to say Logan one more time? Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking it's going to end up being. I don't even know if she's.
Dude, this fight's going to be epic. By the way,
I don't even know. It's part of me thinks that she might sideline herself, and it might. Part of me thinks that she might not even really fight. It might be Hex Vision and Monica versus Agatha and other Vision, or maybe.
So you don't think Wanda's going to be in the battle?
No, I think she will at some point, but maybe not in the beginning, because they're not going to just sideline Monica right now. There's no way.
No, she'll 100% be back for sure. Yeah.
And freaking Darcy's still in there too.
Yeah, but Darcy, what's she gonna do?
I'm not saying she's gonna fight, but we got to remember she's still in there.
Oh, yeah. Here's an interesting thing. What?
Are you're gonna go for what I was? One of the things
I was gonna bring up a comment.
Oh, yeah, that Jesse said.
Was that where you were gonna go?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
No, Jesse, you're along the lines of what I was thinking. If you notice in, where is it? This one, yeah. Thanks, Jake. He's kind of like not a soul, but he's not magic.
He looks like Jarvis when Vision was created.
He looks like he could almost be put into something.
Mm-hmm.
So my thought is, I'm echoing hard in someone's right now. My thought is that either Vision's done after this, or they merge, and maybe he stays the White.
Vision.
White Vision would be cool. I'd be game for that.
I think you're right, Brian.
I'd be game for that.
So that, by the way, that was not my main theory. But that was one of my ones that I thought on the side that maybe that's why I'm thinking he's going to be a straight up killer robot.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
The only way they can get him to stop is by merging.
Dude, this guy looks terrifying. Look at him.
Yeah, he looks dope. Yeah, like Tron.
His eyes look so dope.
I think you just like it because it looks.
Yeah,
must be.
And the interesting thing here is that actor that Paul Bettany was talking about, was he talking about himself?
No.
I heard people joking about that.
You don't think he was talking about himself and trolling everybody?
Maybe.
He could have been trolling everybody.
Dude, I don't think
This goes into
anything's
my
gonna
theory.
happen in the next episode. Meaning, like somebody that we haven't met yet showing up. I don't think so.
I do.
Maybe.
All right. Any final thoughts on White Vision and anything that's happening in the post-credit scene before we get to kind of some geeky preview talk here to wrap up?
I'll double down with Brian. I think the personality and soul of that Vision in Westview goes into White Vision, and we have whatever that is going forward.
I'm game.
And
I'm
he's
absolutely
not
game.
really Vision, but kind of is. I don't know.
Well, he would have his memories back. He'd have his soul back.
It'd be so sad if she has to kill that again.
Yeah, well, she already killed Vision once, and maybe she gets him back, and it's a different body, but it's the same Vision from what came from her, the memories that came from her,
and
the soul that
I
came
think
from her.
no matter what, he's less powerful because I don't think there's a real Infinity Stone in
No.
his head. So he's less powerful.
Yeah,
than
he
was.
wouldn't be the most. He wouldn't be the major sentient weapon
Yeah.
that he was when he was created.
Exactly. Yeah,
If he stays white, if I'm Wanda, I'd be like, can I color you in?
She could probably do that with her powers.
Yeah,
why-
exactly.
Why? It's more fun to just, it's like a coloring book.
All
That
right,
technology,
let's
whatever
get
was
to it.
Captain
Brian.
Marvel did to
Let's get to
Change
it,
her-
Brian. What do
change
you?
her-
I know you've been sitting on something, so why don't you go for it, man?
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I figured out what Kevin Feige is going to be doing for the next couple of bit. So, no, I want all four. I want you all in here.
Oh, we're watching.
Okay,
Brian gets awkward when he's on screen by himself.
yeah, I don't like it. I like talking to people, not myself. Okay, so
Wow, Chuck. Wow.
I see. That's what I mean. Like that'd be kind of fun. All right. So the book is going to be a huge factor. Why is the book going to be a huge factor? Because it's connected to chaos magic. Chaos magic. I know. I'm ruling out right now. Throw it in the trash can. Mephisto is not a part of this.
Yeah, I'm off that train too.
He is not off that,
Yeah.
or he is not on that train anymore. Like Jake just said, Mephisto's gone.
Yeah, he's not a part of this at all. I agree.
However, there is going to be a new big bad that's kind of like Mephisto, and that is Chthon.
Mm-hmm.
Chthon is the god of chaos in the Marvel universe. What does Chthon do? Chthon has written the
Darkhold.
Darkhold. Thank you. I want to call it the Dark Saber, and it just completely left my mind. The Darkhold. The Darkhold is basically chaos in a book, okay? Which may lead to what Keith was saying, which was maybe it is the book that they had in Doctor Strange, whatever. I have a feeling that might just be a happy coincidence, but whatever.
No, it wasn't in Doctor Strange. It was missing.
That's what I mean. I'm saying
He
like
has-
it might just be a happy coincidence that they were like, oh, we had a book missing there. Let's put that one. Anyways,
Nah.
Chthon, god of chaos, ruler of like the chaos realm. I forget what the realm is specifically called. Either way, he rules a realm or gets trapped in a realm. Okay. At some point, he is trapped away from that book. His end goal being to get back to that book. Okay. He's gonna get released. Okay. Ironically, and tell me the ironicism of this. In the
Is that a
very
word?
kitty, what?
Irony.
Irony, thank you.
I was like, is that a word?
Are you the teacher?
I'm not an English teacher.
He's using the Darkhold right now.
The computer would have corrected my grammar. I'm a computer teacher. The irony of this whole thing, there is a little kids superhero show that lasted like 2 seasons.
Titans.
No, it's not. I forget what it's called. It's like Marvel superheroes. It's like where the little kids, the superheroes are like teeny tiny little.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's like
X-Men
Marvel
Academy.
superheroes or something.
Yeah, something like that. Who voices the character of Chthon in that? Mark Hamill.
Oh.
He also voiced Mephisto on the Spider-Man show.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, did he?
Also, the Darkhold. That book
Do it, Brian. Do it.
opens
I know
up.
where you're going.
The Darkhold is centered around demonic things. One of his creations are demonic entities such as vampires,
Blade.
werewolves, demons.
So,
Okay?
well, and just real quick, Brian, to add, the Darkhold actually created the first ever vampire.
Exactly.
Which is a big part.
So there's your vampires. There's Blade. Werewolf. The first ever issue of Moon Knight was technically a Werewolf by Night issue that Moon Knight appeared in. Okay? Demons, you can have all the fun. You could have realm demons. Okay? Shoot all of this out. This guy is going to be your big bad going forward.
Yep.
He's going to be released. I have a feeling he's trapped in the book. He's going to get released into the world, and they're going to need to stop him and somehow get him back into this realm.
And you know, if you notice the book in the last episode, it had the chaos magic around it.
Yes.
The color, the red magic was wrapped around it.
Mm-hmm. So there is your whole wrap up. Yes. The sparkly vampires will be here. It's funny. I literally sat in bed last night and I was like, holy shit, I just figured the whole thing out.
So what does that need to happen? It just needs to open?
So more than likely, you're going to need Wanda to open it.
Yeah.
It's chaos magic.
Something's going to happen. I think the kids are going to get sucked into the book, and she's going to have to get them out.
And so I'll add on to what Brian's saying. I think that he's going to take form of Evan Peters, personally.
Yeah, I mean, that could work. Because I would hate for him just to never be seen again.
I think he's going to take more. I don't think it's going to be Mark Hamill. Look, it'd be amazing to get two major cameos of Mark Hamill. But I think because they have a connection in the past, there's actually a comic line that happens at some point with Chthon. And he says, like, Quicksilver is no longer here. I am Chthon or something. And I know exactly who Brian's talking about. I think he's going to take form of Evan Peters' body. 100%.
If this video disappears off the internet, this is why.
How do they like show that to us though in one episode?
That's a lot.
You're
That's
not.
a lot. Brian,
No. You release him. The show ends with his release, and then Doctor Strange 2, boom, there's your big bad.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense. A lot of people have speculated Al Pacino as well, like could be the big bad at the end.
Yeah,
because he said that he would do a comic book or Marvel movie.
And Paul Bettany said that that's one of his biggest inspirations for acting.
Yeah,
that would be wonderful.
Possible. But a lot of people are saying that he's Mephisto, though.
No,
Mephisto's done.
Yeah,
it is
not being used. Mephisto's not.
I'm ruling that out. Don't rule that out. I don't know.
It's either Chthon or they bring in Nightmare somehow. Those are the only two options. But Chthon is like a 98 percentile right now.
Yeah. And at one point, Agnes in the comics tries to help her stop the Chthon.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, one little side note that I thought of too, that has nothing to do with this, that probably just has some more connection. It's funny because, you know how like people this last week were freaking out that Jennifer Lawrence was in Australia for Fantastic Four?
Mm-hmm.
What was the character that people had said she would be perfect for years? Can you guys remember?
No.
Who, Jennifer Lawrence?
You mean, well, you're not talking about Sue Storm, obviously, right?
No.
And you're not talking about Captain Marvel, right?
Nope.
I don't know.
Everything.
Is there a character like a current character?
She hasn't appeared yet, but she has magic powers. What is currently filming in Australia right now?
Spider-Man, No Way Home.
Thor 4.
Thor 4. Who is one of Thor's
Enchantress.
greatest villains?
Enchantress.
What did he say? Enchantress.
Enchantress.
Magic.
Well, didn't Enchantress appear in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? But I guess.
Yes.
Did she?
Yeah, she did.
That was supposed to be Enchantress.
But Kevin Feige kind of ignores Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Enchantress. Goddess of Magic.
I would love to see like a real movie version of that character.
People have been casting her as Enchantress for years.
That's so funny. I feel like she's been casted as so many other bigger things.
No, Enchantress was the first one that for a long time people had been like, she's going to play Enchantress. Go if you like search it up. It's from like before Age of
Wait, so
Ultron.
isn't Spider-Man 3 filming there too? Though
No, it was earlier. It's not filming there right now.
It's in Atlanta right now.
Yeah, it's not filming there right now.
I see. I
Yeah.
see.
They're using Australia. A lot of films are using Australia because their rules aren't as strict and they're able to do this
For
outside.
taxes stuff too.
Yeah, the access is a little bit better. Brian, the realm that you were thinking of is called the Flickering Realm. For the Chthon, he actually created it himself and escaped there, running away from someone.
So then I think he's trapped in that realm, probably trying to get out into the real world.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny, I had actually read up on Chthon earlier today when I was kind of doing research for today's show. I'm 100% on board with you on that one. It's big.
Do you think that happens like actually in the third act, or that's more like a post-credit scene?
That's third act. That's a third
I think
act.
he might get released at the end of it.
Remember, we're gonna have at least 45 minutes. Look at all the stuff they did today with 45 minutes. It's a lot of time. It is a lot of time to do stuff and film stuff because all the stuff with Agatha that ended in this episode can get wrapped up relatively quickly in the next episode, and then we move on to White Vision and Vision and all this stuff that's happening. We have 45 minutes of all that stuff. Then he's not going to be wrapped up at the end of the episode. He's going to move on to being a big bad in a movie, and then the post-credit scene is Doctor Strange possibly finding out about Chthon or connecting to Doc 2 in some manner.
Yeah. Do you guys think Agatha is evil, or do you think she's just because for most of this she's just trying to figure it out, right?
No, I think she's doing bad things with good intention.
She's trying to figure out who Wanda is. But then the two things, well, she has her kids tied around the neck, which is kind of evil.
What I'm saying. We don't know.
She does say you have no idea how dangerous you are. So it could be Agatha thinks she's right in taking out the Scarlet Witch. Like she's too dangerous to be here.
I don't think it's so. I think she honestly kind of just wants to learn.
Yeah, I mean that's what it was the whole time. She was like, "Oh, I have a theory, but I'm not sure yet."
And oh my god, where was I going with this? I just forgot, and it wrapped up perfectly with Agatha. Yeah, I think she wants to just kind of learn it and figure it out.
Yeah, and maybe take the magic for herself if she can.
I don't think she's going to take.
There
the
must be a
magic
reason.
See, I don't think
she's doing it for a reason.
She's doing it for her own gain. Okay, now I remembered what I was going to go. I think she's bad with good intentions because there is a part in the opening when she goes, "Mom, I can be good." And she's like, "No, you can't." So maybe she can be good, but most of the time she's doing some bad crap for her own gain. Like one of those characters where it's like they're doing stuff where you're like, you're kind of a bad guy, but then they like do teeny, like Loki.
Yeah, and if she's telling the truth, she said, "I can't control it."
Murdering people.
She also said, "I can't control it," unless she's lying.
Yeah, or maybe, Pedro, what John said, that cat could be someone. It could be Ralph.
I think this is clearly a means to an end.
Or not cat, rabbit.
Well, doesn't her son die in the comics and she wants to bring him back or something?
She puts his soul into the cat, essentially.
Okay.
Well, yeah, and she was talking to the rabbit, so the rabbit is obviously her son. So that's
or Ralph.
Yeah. Well, Ralph might be her son. So
that's true.
Rachel, to your question, Ralph might be her son, who she is maybe trying to reincarnate, and maybe she needs chaos magic to do so. Who knows? But it's definitely going to get all unfolded next weekend. It's going to be crazy. For all of you who maybe missed the beginning of the show, we're actually going to be recording our reactions. We're we're going to sit down, we're going to mute our mics, and we're just going to be on camera watching the episode together. I think Disney Plus has a connective piece where we can actually play it together, so that might be the best way of doing it.
It's a group thing.
Yeah, that might be the best way of doing that. So we'll have a video out next week with our reactions. We'll obviously come back next week for Rewind to review episode 9. And then the following week, we'll do a full spoiler breakdown, a heavy coverage of the entire series, all the episodes we saw, what we think, kind of overall thoughts. Still deciding whether or not that'll be an episode of Rewind or on Now, just to make sure that Keith is involved in that as well. It might be on Now to kind of put it on the main show on Tuesdays. But before we get out of here, boys, do we have any final thoughts on today's episodes before we head out to episode 9 next week?
It's going to be a long week.
Go, Keith.
Well, Gio hit on something earlier that we didn't get to, but
Gio,
I think
speak
the
up.
idea. Yeah, well, no, yeah, it's something that it was part of the next thing, but it was the idea of what's the guy's name again?
Hayward.
That guy. Hayward possibly trying, and I've heard this too, possibly trying to recreate Ultron. I think that's a decent possibility as well. This new White Vision could be a version of Ultron that's been out there all these years. Yeah, I've as soon as I saw him, I thought about that and I went, nah. But when I saw him,
could you imagine if we hear James Spader's voice?
You hear James Spader, exactly. Yeah.
That would be sad.
That'd be and so if you hear James Spader's voice, Vision is 100% done. Done. KO'd.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Unless they merge.
There's no coming back from that.
Unless they merge.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting. That would be interesting. All right, we're gonna wrap it up, guys. To everyone watching the whole time, thank you guys so much for hanging out for the last hour and a half or so. The episodes are getting longer, so Rewind's gonna be a little bit longer. There's a lot to talk about. Guys. And so for all of us here at Apocaflix, we thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Again, Rewind is every Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific. Not just Rewind, but also the Fandalorian Club, our Star Wars review show, which will be coming back in May for the Bad Batch. May 4th was the official announcement, so we'll be doing reviews for that show on Fridays as well. And then obviously for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier comes out in just a few weeks, we'll be here, and then Loki later on this year because those all have official release dates. We don't have release dates for the other ones, but every Friday right here when shows are going for Marvel and Disney and then DC when it comes, we'll be doing reviews right here. So again, for all of us, for Mr. Keith Barnes, for Gio Ramos, Brian Avellino, Jacob Barley, and myself, thank you guys so much for joining us. Hit us up in the comments. Hit us up on social media. All of our handles are in the link below, or the description below, excuse me. And you guys can find everything down there. So again, thank you guys so much, and we will see you guys next week.